Good morning. Good morning. First and foremost, go to the website. You can support by downloading the petition, turning it into your supervisor of elections office. It costs 10 cents. But let's get to why we're here. I want to talk to you today about the art of politics, how it works and how it is used to confuse you and kind of mislead you on purpose. If you do not have a strong researcher in your circle, find one because sometimes it takes a little time to put these things together. I discussed a little while back Joint House Resolution 25, and I said, hey, in this resolution, they changed the way they count days so they did not have to address the rolling back of National Emergency Act power, how we would have stopped some of the terrorists from happening or all of the terrorists from happening and maybe came up with a better plan if we saw it going awry, kind of how people are saying it's going awry right now, including myself, who kind of think that, hey, let's take a step back at the table, verify and validate that we want to continue going on this route, and should we do it? But the wording, the art of politics is why you're here. Let me show it to you. House Resolution 25 is titled Gross Proceeds Reporting by the brokers that regularly provide services effectuating digital asset sales. This is the content of the resolution itself. House Resolution 211, agreed to on March 11, 2025, was a procedural resolution that provided for the consideration of House Joint Resolution 25. You got to stick with me because it's a lot of words. It established that the rules and procedures for how the House would debate and vote on House Joint Resolution 25. This resolution likely contained provisions about the time limits, debate structure, and other procedural matters related to considering House Joint Resolution 25. House Resolution 334, the amended House Resolution 2011, by striking Section 4, which likely contained the timeline or deadline related to the consideration of House Joint Resolution 25. The amendment specifically changes how days are counted, ensuring days occurring during first session constitute calendar days for the purpose of terminating a national emergency. Now we're going to show you the connection. That's three separate resolutions, each one doing its own thing. Each one, it has its own place in creating the larger picture. Stick with me. The connection is that while House Joint Resolution 25 itself is about digital asset sales reporting, House Resolution 211 was the procedural vehicle that set up how it would be considered. And this procedural resolution contained language about the national emergency powers. House Resolution 334 then modified those procedural rules, effectively extending the time for decision making on national emergency powers. This is a common legislative technique where procedural resolutions that govern the consideration of one bill, that one bill being House Joint Resolution 25, can contain provisions related to other matters like national emergency powers. And these procedural resolutions can then be amended by subsequent resolutions, House Resolution 334, to change timelines or other procedural aspects. What this means, it is not the bait and switch. It's not a bait and switch. It's saying that, hey, I'm going to use something that's totally unrelated, but that has wording in it to adjust something over here. And we're going to pass a bill where you have to start looking at the layers. How many layers are you willing to go? I'm going to be a governor that's going to put it in your face though. Who, what, when, where, why, and how are we going to accomplish that? I'm pushing for legislative authority because these types of things right here require you to take time and effort and investment in reading and research. It's that important. Why you can take the bottom line to all of this is a simple, it's really simple. We have 365 days in a calendar year. What they simply said was one day will count as 365. So if I have 15, if it takes me 15 days, 15 days to respond to this, I'm going to change that. So the calendar days I'm going to change how I count the calendar days. So if you give me 15 days, I'm going to say that each day is essentially 365. So you're like, whoa. So that's a lot. That's kind of jacked up. What do you got to do now? You got to do math. You got to be like, oh man, this is a bit much. That's what happened. That's why whenever you sit down, I want to give you the ability to respond intellectually, to respond factually, to understand that, hey, how come we can't fix this? Because the provisions, the amendment, and House Resolution 211 and House Resolution 334 were used in the overall amendment of House Joint Resolution 25 to change the time period. So therefore, if it took me originally 15 days, I had to respond to if we were going to decide to pull this back or not. What was I going to do? I changed the way I count the days. So now every day is going to be considered 365 days. So I have 365 times 15 to decide whether or not this is going to happen. The setup, the political setup, how they spend more time looking to confuse the citizen. They spend a lot of time looking at it. Now, here's the thing about legislative authority. It's not implemented at the federal or state level in the way it needs to be. This is the point of all of this, because there's nothing that citizens could have did regardless. Only thing you could have did was know if they voted on it, if they would have voted to continue to let this happen, who the exact people were. But you can go look at who voted for House Resolution 25, the yays and the nays. Go take a look and you can find out if they're your district representatives. And if indeed you are suffering hardship because they would not continue to keep the power to maybe pull you out of it. Instead, they decided to push it so far to the left, and they did it in a layered fashion. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Is you're going to have research. You're going to have to be able to establish or formulate the type of question that's going to bring you the right answer, or going to give you close to a conclusion as possible so you can look this information up. Why hire a worker that doesn't work for you? It's my job to keep you informed. That's the job I'm running for. I'm running to keep you informed. I'm running to make sure that when you understand that, hey, this is a pivot, there is a layered approach to how this has been done. It's always going to be a layered approach until we decide to change it. These political pivots, these political practices are horrible. And I'm asking you to give me that support so I can help fix it. And the only way we get through this is if we all decide, especially in the state of Florida, if we all decide that we want to weigh in. Because if we cannot weigh in, and if we don't start putting people in these seats that really are simply there for the people, you're educated, but your baseline is the citizen. My baseline is helping people. It's helping people help themselves. And politically, we all need it. We need a way to trust, to put trust back in the government. And I'm trying to educate you. You can go validate every single thing I said. You can look up, if you made it this far, House Resolution 25, the House Resolution 211, and the House Resolution 334, and see how they layered the fix. See how they layered the trick. It's never on the top. They always say it's a statement that's said sometimes. The devil is in the details. And I'm bringing you the details. I know it takes time, and I know that, like, I hope I catch your attention, but it does take time. It does take time, and I'm going to give us the time to roll this back. I'm just asking for the opportunity to start pushing us in the right direction together, not separate, not me figuring this out on my own, together. The only thing that you should expect from me is to bring you factual information. That's it. I'm going to have my opinion. You're going to have your opinion. We're all going to get to weigh our vote. I'm going to do my best to explain to you why, if we need to go through hardship, why we need this pass or why we don't. If we can put safeguards in place not to have too much hardship, we're going to explain that out too. But you cannot we're not going to leave you. I'm not going to have an administration that leaves you in the dark arguing points that we're not talking about directly. That is not leadership. That is not the way we work for our boss. It's just not. If there's a problem, we bring it to you. Hey, this is going to be an issue. And we need to probably plan on actions and milestones to figure out what we're going to do when we come to this bridge or this hurdle and how we're going to figure this out. Please take the time to go to the website. Take the time to tell me that, hey, I downloaded this sheet. Take the time to say, hey, there's a governor there's a candidate that's coming around to be governor. At minimum, give him an opportunity. At minimum, because he is the only one currently that wants to put power in the hands of citizens. And he wants to truly work for the citizen. You guys have a great day.